start.
Coach, you didn't have the luxury of being here with the other new coaches in the spring. How's it been for you catching up, evaluating that type of thing?
It's been good. It's been a normal transition, minus the foundation that you get in spring practice. So I'm working the guys hard. I'm trying to, put in a little overtime to make up for the lost time. But the guys are responding. They're putting in, consecutive days and working hard, and I think they're trying to learn, the little subtle things that are going to help you win.
Looking at the offense and talking to the receivers, they said they kind of came in with a clean slate with you. Ryan King seems to be a guy that's had a strong fall camp. Kind of what have you seen from him, and what is he doing well, and what does he still need to work on?
Well, he's doing a lot of things well. He understands our offense. He's giving great effort, and he's trying to meet expectations, like all the guys are. The thing that he can do better is just, show that he can help us win in the tough times. When the game's on the line, we're in the fourth quarter and overtime, I'm looking for grit, but I got to make sure that you're smart and you understand what you're doing. So that's one of the things, getting tired, but being able to fight through that, and also be smart and understand situations is something that I'm asking him to do, because if I overload him, then he loses his concentration, and we're just working on that.
Ken? Can you go over the competition at slot receiver?
The competition at the slot receiver right now, there's competition throughout the room. We just put together 2 weeks, and this week the theme was, compete for playing time. We were competing for consistency. We were competing to understand the offense, give effort, show explosiveness. This week is about, competition for playing time at each position. Obviously, our slots are Nate and Malik and Jamal. And the tough part about where we are right now is, a couple of those guys have been playing really, really well. So they could be competing against each other. They could be competing against other guys at other spots. They would not be limited to one position.
You're talking about looking for the guy that's going to be there, when you need that big play in crunch time. It seems like Malachi Carter's one of those guys. He seems like he's really consistent.
Yeah, Malachi's made a lot of plays this summer. He does understand our offense. He is a leader when it comes to contributing and having stats. But again, having a clean slate also means proving it to me. I try to make sure I don't pass judgment without the opportunity to evaluate. So whatever he did in the past is great, but I'm asking him to do things every single day. You've seen him catch the ball. He's caught the ball here in practice or in the stadium. But I'm hard to please, so I want more, and I still have another couple of weeks to strain him and to push for more, because you only get one shot at it on Monday when we first play.
Can you talk a little bit about Ejay? It just seems it's an interesting story, just seeing a guy like his size playing receiver, and obviously he's still learning the offense and those kind of things, but can you talk about what you've seen from him and that potential?
Right, yeah. Well, he's a giant, and as a coach, a wide receiver coach, you like giants because you can get a mismatch. I think, with Ejay's size, there's some things fundamentally that he knows he's got to work on, and we're really trying to detail those things. But when it comes to a mismatch, you look at a guy that should be able to win on one in the boundary. And that's the goal there with him first, and then trying to make him and something else, or use him in multiple spots, is something that we grow to. But unique size, working on him being a receiver every down is something that takes time, and we're trying to we're running out of time, unfortunately, but that's what we're working on.
Time for a couple more for Coach Alexander.
Have you coached someone his size before?
Close. Not weight-wise, but I've coached a couple of trees in the last 5 years that did a great job for me.
Ron, if you want to wrap us up with Coach Alexander.
Yeah, Coach, you and Coach Long have a relationship from your previous coaching jobs. How has that helped you to catch up with what you're trying to do here?
It's the learning curve is only in the vocabulary. Not in the mindset, not in the expectations for us as coaches that work for him. not necessarily in the concepts and the philosophy as far as the offense goes. So Coach Long and I are like brothers. You know, he's screaming at me and I'm screaming back at him. But the thing that I can do better than someone who hasn't worked with him is I know the ins and outs of a little bit of how he thinks, you know, so I can get in the room and kind of detail some things a little bit better because of my experience with him and in the offense, and then that allows him to not have to, you know, spread himself out and say, hey, okay, I got to help you with these wide receivers. So it kind of helps him focus on the planning and the detail in the plan and allows me the freedom to close my door and do what I do in terms of developing guys and getting them ready to play.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Mike Daniels. We'll open it up right for questions for Coach Daniels. Kelly, if you want to get started.
I wanted to actually ask you about something a little different. The return game, I know you're working with those guys. Kind of what are you seeing at kick and punt return, and who are some guys that are maybe in the mix there?
Well, we've revved it up the last 3 or 4 days in regards to putting them in challenging positions, numbers of kicks. You know, in my opinion, you know, those are like free throws, right? So the number of reps really matters. And so I think we got 3 or 4 guys that we're looking at in regards to get the guys who are who actually going to be back there. And so when you start thinking about the Nate McCulloughs of the world, the Malik's of the world, the Malachi's, those guys are just guys who we're looking at. And it's an ongoing battle. Coach Collins does a phenomenal job of giving us time to actually coach that up, and that's rare and unique to us, in my opinion, in regards to gunner school and returner school. So excited about the group.
Rod?
Looking at the younger guys, you got 2 freshmen in the room.
Yep.
Felix didn't have the opportunity to come in the spring. How is he doing now? It seems like when you look at him out there, like he was already here in the spring. He's really doing well out there.
Yeah, he's when you start thinking about, I got two good ones, okay? And you brought up Jamie Felix, Camden County kid he's got a chance. And obviously he's green and young. There's a lot that he has to learn, but in regards to his skill set, his ability to learn, his toughness, his lower body balance, he's pretty daggone good in those spaces. So I'm excited about him for his development, and I think every day matters, every rep matters, every period matters in his growth and his development, and so he's shown signs of having the it. And we're excited about it. And obviously, we were able to see Antonio in the spring. You've seen from the spring to now, he's a much better product. And so I'm excited about those 2 young guys. They're a joy to be around. And I think from a talent standpoint, they both have a chance.
Ken?
I know at Buffalo you had to manage a deep pool of backs. And I'm curious, when you have multiple backs who can play, as it appears you do, like how do you try to divvy up the playing time?
Well, I think 2 things. So you brought up the Buffalo, and so I do have experience and have success in regards to having multiple guys, 3 and 4 guys. But if you go check any, the way college football is set today, if you're running the football and you're having success and you're playing bowl games and you're playing conference championship games, you're going to need 3 guys. And so for us, I got 3 guys that are good football players and different skill set. And so it's my job, it's Coach Chip Long's job to find those balances and ways to be sure that everybody gets and we can maximize their abilities. But overall, I think when you start thinking about the group, I like them all, okay? And I think they're all 3 good football players, talking about the older guys. And so I'm excited. We're going to need every one of them. And we plan to run a daggone football, and so we're going to need them.
I guess how do you look at like that competition there with you have Dante as the returning guy and then Dylan who you brought in and Hassan who also came in. Just kind of where's that competition now? Is there a pecking order in your mind yet? Like kind of how does that work?
I think honestly, and it's not cliche, they're all ones. If you watch practice, there's times where Dylan starts the group, there's times where Dante starts it, and there's times where Hassan starts it. And so again, it just depends on what we're trying to do. You see, if you watch us, we're in some 2-back stuff, and so where you got 2 running backs in there. And so I think as far as pecking order, I think we're still trying to figure that out if there's one. Again, they're all ones, and so just depending on the situation and what's going on and who's hot and what we're trying to accomplish offensively, who fits that skill set. I think that's what we're going. And like I said, we brought up in the last question, I've had experience doing that. And if you look at the group I had last year, you had 2 out of the 3 were all conference with one guy who rushed for 1,000, and the guy who wasn't all conference or rushed for 1,000 yards is playing for the Los Angeles Chargers as we speak. And so I kind of have a good feel of my guys, good relationship. So I manage the brotherhood and manage and make sure that I'm paying attention to all the things. So everybody's, because there's enough out there for everybody.
Rob?
Well, that's sort of the same subject. Do you have, when you have certain situations in a game, through your evaluations, now you think, well, maybe this is the guy that should be in this situation, or maybe in another situation, maybe it should be another guy, that type of thing?
I think as we're going through, in my mind, we're kind of in the middle of camp as we leading into to game day. Some of those things are being solidified. There's some ideas that I have. Obviously, Hassan's skill set is different than McDuffie's skill set, and so just finding those ways to be able to put those guys in a space. And so to answer your question, yes, there's a framework that I have in my mind, but I think some of them are still being ironed out and trying to figure out who's what, where, so I can have a detailed plan. They can know exactly what, and they can know the plan, so they can go and expect what I need from when it comes to game time.
Okay, got time for a couple more from Coach Daniels.
I'm curious, obviously, when you got here, restocking the room was, I'm sure, a priority, and you've done that, and it seems like you've recruited well beyond that. I'm curious, for someone who's new to the school and I guess you know Georgia a little bit, how much of what you've been able to do in recruiting is it, some of it's relationship building and some of it's selling the school and the team and so forth, and kind of what's your balance there, I guess, as an MLG to assess
I would, to answer your question, that's a great question. I like to think that there's a healthy 50-50 balance. I mean, I know people who haven't been to Georgia Tech don't understand how special this place is when you start thinking about what it does for you, not only outside of the school and start thinking about outside of football and beyond, but Atlanta is one of the best places in this world. And so you go and you find guys, and you'll find out there's a ton of guys that want to be here, and I think you match that with my personality. You match that with the relationship piece, because it is important to me. It's something that I truly believe in from my heart. And so when you get that, you get Atlanta, you get Georgia Tech, and how special this place is, and you get a guy who's passionate about young people and love developing young people. That's why you have success, and we'll continue that.
Go if you want to wrap us up.
Sure. With Dylan, his story's a little different because obviously he came on in the middle of the season for you guys last year at Buffalo, and he had kind of waited his turn. I guess, how do you manage that mentality with guys if say Dante or whoever steps ahead early in the season, to keep guys ready, keep them engaged, and if maybe the reps aren't the same as maybe what they think in their mind? I think
that's a great question. And again, it's not cliche when you start talking about the relationship piece, right? But it's also good coaches and dealing with these kids these days. They really want to know the why. And so if you're detailed and you communicate why you may not be performing the right way, or why this guy's ahead of you, I think kids understand. Kids understand. They see the film. They're realists. It's just being able to say, hey, I'm humble enough as his manager, as his coach, as his leader, to be able to communicate why and the things that he needs to work on. And so I don't feel like that'll be a problem in my room, because I always harp on the why and the details of hey, not just, hey, you need to do better. This is what you need to do and how you need to do it. And that's maybe that's the teacher in me from the high school background, but I firmly believe that. And so that's how I respond to that.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I believe this is the first time you've been up here, right, Dylan?
Yes, sir.
So introducing Dylan McDuffie to the group. We'll go ahead and open it right up for questions for Dylan. We'll start over here with Rob.
I guess, what has the transition been like for you coming from Buffalo down here, as far as just everything, school, football, chemistry with the new teammates, that type of thing?
I would say it's been great, really, just based off my teammates alone. They made the transition really easy. And then having Coach Daniels here, he made it even easier. Coach Collins, they all welcome me with open arms, and it's a family atmosphere. And I really just bought into the culture, and just it was an easy fit. And the transition, I would always come to Atlanta to train for my off-season break. So, I mean, it wasn't too much of a transition to me just being in the city because I've been here quite a few times, got family down here. So, I mean, all around it's been pretty good for me.
Obviously, there's a healthy competition between you and Hassan and Dante. What has that been like, and how do you guys kind of approach it each day? Is it like every day we're competing? Because I know, like Dante said, that like he likes working out with you because you're so intense. Like, is that just something you're trying to push them too?
I mean, iron sharp as iron. At the end of the day, we all got the same goal, and we all got the same approach to how we're going to approach everything for us as running back group and for this team to win games. So, I mean, we know that to be successful, all three of us need to be successful, and we push each other to be better. So, I mean, that's really the ultimate goal out of everything for us, and we're just going to keep doing that.
Ken?
Coach Long was up here the other day saying like he wants to have like a 60-40 run-pass ratio, and obviously the running the running back group seems like it's maybe the strongest group in the teams. Kind of, what sort of maybe opportunity or responsibility do you feel to kind of be the engine of this offense?
Just being ready. I mean, we have a great running back room, great receiver room, great offensive line, and everybody knows Jeff is great. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if whatever's called, we're going to be ready to perform, and whatever Coach Long wants out the offense, we're going to be ready to step up. Whether it's me, Dante, Hassan, or the young guys, we all going to do our part to do what we got to do to win games.
Obviously, besides running the ball, there's other things involved with Coach Long's offense, catching the ball out of the backfield, pass pro. How have you adjusted to those phases?
Really just preparation. Coach Long obviously has a great history as an offensive coordinator when it comes to producing and having his running backs be a great part of the offense. So, I mean, really just sitting down and locking in on the film and going back and looking at cut-ups and just preparing the right way for practice every day. Going over the install and the notes from the meeting is really important just because of how much it does require. But, I mean, it's required for a reason. So, we're going to trust it and just keep pounding away at it so we'll be ready.
You guys stepped into a situation where the team hasn't had a lot of success the last few years, and Pierce Quick was talking, I guess, 2 days ago to us about trying to put in that winning mentality, like every time you guys go out, you have a chance to win, expect to win. Is that something that you're trying to bring to the table as a new guy in the room to kind of maybe change what expectations are?
Oh, definitely. I mean, everybody's expectation is to win. It's not anything. We want to win every game. Every time we step on the field, we want to win every rep in practice. I mean, that's the expectation from top to bottom, Coach Collins to everybody on this roster. So, I mean, the expectation is to win, and that's what we plan to do. We just got to keep putting in the work and preparing the right way, and just go out there and keep doing what we're doing.
Okay.
I asked Coach Daniels about this, with so many backs, like how do you split the time? And obviously you've experienced it with him. Like, how would you explain how he tried to, get guys in, whether it was by series or kind of who was hot, or how did that typically work?
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. How did it typically work when in Buffalo with Coach Daniels, as far as like how he tried to rotate the backs in and out?
We just went with the hot hand, really. Whoever was playing well, that's who kept the ball in their hands. And, I mean, we had a great running back room there, too. So there was games where, I would get 15 carries, and there was games where I would get 25 carries. But that just based upon, guys being hot and the team gelling was working for the offense. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about winning. So whatever gets that done is what's more important.
Ron?
Coach Long has talked about the need to get better in the red zone, goal line offense, that type of thing. And he likes to rely on the running backs to get that job done. I imagine that's something you guys are embracing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, as a running back, that should be 100% getting in the end zone every time you're down there. That's where you make your money, and I feel like as a running back, that's something you should pride yourself in, is being able to punch it in down there. You don't got to make it more complicated than it should be, I feel like.
Anything else for Dylan? Ken?
I can't help but notice your body art. Is there something particularly that is most meaningful to you?
They all meaningful, honestly. I would probably say the ones I got from my parents and my family are the most meaningful to me. but they all mean something to me.
Anything else? Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with questions for Ejay Jenkins. If you got a question, please grab the mic. Go ahead, Kelly.
I guess just how's your feel now for the offense? You've got about 2 weeks into it now, and obviously had some off-season stuff in the OTAs, but just how's your comfort level with what they're asking you to do, and kind of what are you still working on?
Comfort level is real good, especially just being here, just going through camp and whatnot. Being this is still fast, everybody's learning on the fly, and young guys out here learning their stuff too. So I'm learning along with them. So I feel like it's going well, it's going smooth. Everybody's starting to pick it up and know exactly where to be and when to be there. So just really just taking it day by day is what everybody's doing.
Rod?
There's been a lot of talk about using your size for mismatches, which Coach Long likes to create. Have you seen any of that so far in practice, that type of thing?
I mean, yeah, just developing mismatches all over the field, inside, outside, wherever he needs me to be. So wherever he needs, lines me up at, I'm willing to do whenever.
Ken?
Your size obviously is kind of unusual for the position. What are, besides the obvious, what are ways that, maybe you can use that and the game is a little different for you than maybe other players who are a little shorter than you?
Really just physicality, really just getting body on body with people. They're not going to want to hold up a 240-pound receiver. So really just leaning on them, wear and tear them down, and eventually they're not going to want to deal with it all game. So really just using what God gave me and just imposing it on other people.
Just how's the competition been in the receiver room? And obviously guys are all fighting for playing time. Kind of what are you seeing from that group?
I see a lot of fight. I see grit. I see the willing and the love of the game. And only me and Mally is really a true vet guy. So, I see all the young guys, everybody's excited, everybody wants to do good. But of course you have your adversities and whatnot, and really just you sit there and look back and see how they take it, and you give them advice because we already been in their shoes. So you give them advice and stuff like that, how to overcome adversity and just really just pass down the knowledge to them. So back to your question, just talking about the competition in there. The competition is anybody can go. I feel like anybody can go. Everybody's a playmaker, and just keep fighting, Got a whole bunch of fighters in there.
Rob?
You came in around the same time as Coach Alexander,
Mm-hmm.
both getting adjusted to what it's like here. And what is it like playing for him?
Coach Alexander is a real old school guy, so he's really in the black or white. Real funny guy. He has a great personality. He keeps it real with you 100% all the time. And that's what I really admire about him, too. He's not going to hold anything back. Like, if he feels some kind of way, he's going to tell you about it. And you can't do nothing but to respect it. So Coach Alexander, he has great knowledge, great wisdom, good head on his shoulders, and I love learning from him every day.
Ken?
What kind of goals did you guys talk about as a team? About what you want to accomplish?
Of course, everybody has a winning mentality. Every game, we decide we want to win every game. But obviously, there's stuff, you just have expectations and whatnot. But every game we're going to go in with a winning mentality. So we want to win.
Anything else for Ejay? Ken? You want to wrap this up?
What's the story with having a 0 jersey?
The 0 jersey. We don't have a story for that. Because I always used to watch Mortal Kombat a lot growing up as a kid too. So I decided to do something different. I wore 0 my senior year for basketball in high school, so I was like, why not bring it back for football? So I always called myself Sub-Zero. Yeah, I like that. So really just bringing it back to life, really. So it feels good to wear it.
Outstanding. Thanks, Ejay.
They're good.